Oh no. Greetings everybody. Um, you may be wondering what I'm doing with this pineapple. I'll get to that in a moment, and I'll also get to the comic books that I wanted to show you in a minute, but I wanted to share something else with you first. About 4 months ago, I started to go on a sort of a health change, in my life, because I knew I was going to get this knee replacement in my left leg, and then I'm going to be going in for the right leg. And I thought that, well, I got to start doing some lifestyle changes, and it's worked pretty good, actually. I have lost, since I started this, and I really didn't even do anything. I've lost 30 pounds just absolutely doing nothing except these three simple things. And I'm going to share that with you. And that's what I wanted, because I want to see, comic book collectors and the whole comic book community and collectors of pop culture be around a long time. I want to see everybody live long. I want to see strong age groups and every, people in their 40s or 50s and 60s. Who says you got to stop collecting comic books when you're 60 or 70 years old? Do what you enjoy in life, but you won't be able to do all those things unless you get, healthy. And so the first thing what I started to do was I stayed away from junk food. I stopped eating junk food for the most part. I cheat every once in a while. Very, very, very little though. But 99% I'm away from junk food. How many times I go to conventions and I see fanboys over there overweight fanboys pulling sody pops, even diet sody pops, out of their backpack, and they pull out a candy bar and they think with the candy bar, well, they're going to have energy, but they're getting fat. You know how bad that is for your heart, man? And the money that they spend there in the conventions, at the vendors and in the cafeteria, holy crap, for that junk food, are you kidding me? You can just bring yourself your own little snacks, a bag of apples instead of a bag of chips, and a little bag of prunes maybe, or a little bag of orange slices, and then you can bring a bottle of water in that backpack, or you can bring, oh, there's my cigar, look at that, it was inside the pineapple the whole time. I'm a little loopy because I'm on these painkillers. Every time I get out of therapy, physical therapy, I have to get on those painkillers because it hurts, man. And I lost my cigar. There it is. I'm a little loopy. But anyway, getting back to that diet stuff, and you can even make yourself a sandwich at home. Wrap it in aluminum foil and put it in a plastic bag, and it stays fresh the whole time that you're there. I've done it. I've done this at the last convention I went to. And besides, if you're going to be carrying a backpack around and knocking people down to the ground unconscious and knocking babies out of their mother's arms because you got that big backpack, and you might as well knock them down with something healthy in there. And number 2 is just walk a block or 2 blocks every day. That's all you got to do. Even if you don't do any other exercises. If you do other exercises, that's even better. But if you don't, you walk a couple blocks and you'll be good. And those are 2 things that you can do, and it doesn't cost you nothing. There's hardly any effort to it. But number 3, here's where the pineapple comes in. Now there goes my cigar again. Number 3, and this requires a little bit of effort because it involves juicing. And in order to juice, you have to have a juicer or a processor. And those things can be pretty expensive. Now, I bought one, and I've had it for 15 years. I kid you not. And it was, at the time, I guess it was fairly expensive. It was around $100. But it works well. It juices. It makes a lot of noise, and it rumbles. Maybe that's why they call it the juice lady. See, that's what it is, the juice lady. Kind of embarrassed to have a sissy kind of a juicer, but hey, it does the job. But I've been trying to save money to buy a new juicer, and the juicers that I'm looking at cost like $300 or $400. But and I'm saving money for a lot of different things, so it'll probably be a while before I have the money for that juicer I want. But in the meantime, they have cheaper ones you can get for like, well, I don't know how much this one would cost today. The Juice Lady. What a name for a food processor, the Juice Lady. Sounds like a drug dealer or something. Yeah, and so once you get that, you can make process your own juices, with vegetables, with fruit, and it tastes really good. You can do all sorts of different things that you can experiment with, and then you'll eventually find something that you really like, and you can stick with this. And you can even take them to conventions. You can pour these juices after you're done making them into an empty water bottle, put some paper towel around this, and then aluminum foil. And you take that to the convention, you put it in your backpack. This stuff stays cold that way. I'm not kidding you. But in order for me to get, this is 12 ounces. I made 48 ounces of this today. And what I did was, in that juicer, I used, these are 2 pounds of carrots. I used about 3 pounds of carrots, 6 oranges. I used 1 lime. You can probably use 2, but I used 1 lime. And of course, you got to clean the carrots and peel them. You got to peel the oranges and peel the lime. And then I used 1 pineapple, cut and properly cleaned. And voila! I got 48 ounces of this. And then I put them in the mason jars. I use a small jar to catch everything, and then I pour it into a pitcher, mix it all up in the pitcher, because it's a 64 ounce pitcher, so I can mix it all up real good, and then put it back into the mason jars, and then put them in the refrigerator where they stay fresh for a week. That tastes so good, man. You can even put some rum in there. Oh yeah. But those are the 3 things you gotta do. And you could easily, if you start this while you're a teenager or in your 20s, live to be 100 years old. I'm not saying that you will, but it can be done. And you might even live to be over 100. You stay healthy and you juice like this. I mean, holy cow, you stay away from junk food. Very easy to do. It's just hard to buy that juicer to get the money for it, but it's well worth it for the number of years you're going to add to your life, and you're going to be around the comic community for a long time. You got to get heart healthy, but you got to do it, and you got to stick with it. I mean, I still, once a week, I drink 4 or 5 beers on the weekend, and I smoke a cigar. I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm completely a health nut, but I cut my beer consumption in half, and my cigar consumption in half. I smoke 1, maybe 2 cigars a week, and 4 or 5 beers at the end of the week, and it's good. It's all good. You can cheat once in a while. I go out for breakfast every now and then. I don't consider breakfast to be junk food anyway, unless you do it too often. You eat too many eggs and you get in trouble, but at any rate, that's all that stuff. Now, I'm really feeling the effects of this Norco here. What's this Norco stuff I gotta take? Holy crap. It's making me loopy. Shingadroopy from Guadalupe. Okay, I'm coming. Here I am. First comic book I want to show you is from EC. These are comics that are a lot of my favorite comic books and favorite covers, and I'll tell you the reasons why. The first one is it's from 1956. It's when it's a code issue, when the code was already instituted. and that's Incredible Science Fiction number 33. This is in probably fair to good condition. It's somewhat hard to find, at a decent price, and got a lot of spinal wear. It's got an issue right up here with color loss on the cover there, but it's a beautiful Wally Wood cover, and it is also the very last comic book that EC ever published. But what really makes this a key issue is the history of the last story in here. When the original last story in here that William Gaines, the publisher of EC's, wanted to include in this, and he presented it to the Comic Code Authority, was called An Eye for an Eye, but they rejected it flat outright. Had something to do with mutants and humans, and that didn't sit well because they were fighting each other for superiority of, I guess, racial superiority or something. But it was rejected, and I don't know much about that story, An Eye for an Eye, except that it might have been published by Ross Cochran in the EC archives or something. I'm not sure. I would like to read that story sometime if I can find it somewhere. But they rejected it, so William Gaines, having no time now to come up with a new story, write up a new story and draw a new story, decided to go with a reprint. The reprint that he chose for this comic was originally published in Weird Science Fantasy number 19, I think in 1953. And that story was called Judgment Day. So he represented it all to the Comic Code Authority, and the administrator of the code at that time was a guy by the name of Charles Murphy, who was a New York magistrate that the Comic Code Authority hired for a contract period of 2 years. And he flat out rejected that story as well. So, seeing as how it was previously published only a few years ago, William Gaines, inquired as to why they would not publish that story, why it was rejected. And the story goes that it was rejected because of the last panel. The last panel showed, well, I'll have to show you the last panel. Story is about an ambassador, an astronaut that comes to this planet that is ruled by robots, and he's trying to determine if this planet is going to be worthy of joining this federation. He determines that their warlike nature is not acceptable, and throughout the entire story you never see this ambassador's face. He's always in the astronaut suit. You never see his face. You don't know what he looks like until the last panel reveal. And the last panel reveal is right here. That's right. It's a Negro astronaut. Of course, at that time that's how they referred to blacks, as Negroes. Today we refer to them as African Americans, but that's why William Gaines originally claimed that the story was rejected. So he was mad and was in constant telephone contact, he and Al Feldstein, with the Code Authority, and then they changed their tune and said, well, you can't have the beads of sweat coming down this guy's brow, because that's an indication. So he has all these beads of sweat there. I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's beads of sweat coming down, and you can't have that because that would imply tension and fear, and tension and fear are rejected in the comic book code, so you can't have that. So he's mad, he's very upset, he's very mad, and he decides that he knows the real reason why. He tells them in the last effort that if they don't accept this story and publish it as is, because there was also rumors that they wanted him, if they would change the color of the person in the last panel to to a Caucasian, then they would print it. And he was really mad about the whole. That would destroy the whole concept of the story. So he threatened to expose the real reason all the way to the Supreme Court as to why they rejected that story. And after that threat, they relented and published it. And there's probably a little bit more details involved in that, but that's the gist of it, which is pretty, in a lot of ways, pretty disgusting, But it is the story itself is pretty good. It's not a great story, but it's the whole idea behind that last panel reveal and the rejection of that story by the code. And that is why this is a very historical key issue. And plus all the artwork by Wally Wood, and the story itself was by Al Feldstein and William Gaines. And this is the other one of my favorite comics from EC. This Weird Science number 18 from 1953. This is where that story originally appeared. Sorry about that. This is where that story originally appeared. And there's also some stuff in here by Ray Bradbury. EC just did a fantastic job with their stories. Unbelievably fantastic job. I guess I could show you that. Let's see. Here's the story again in that issue, and there's the last panel. You can see that. What was the art? I think the art in there was also by Wally Wood, wasn't it? Or was it? No, Joe Orlando did the artwork for that story, Judgment Day. Those are two of my favorite EC comics, and now you know the reason why they are. And another one of my favorites. I don't know if I got a stack here that I pulled, my favorite comic books. So I don't know if I'll get through all of them. I probably won't, but this one is a favorite of mine. This is a key issue because it's the very first issue of America's Sweetheart, Sonny. Even though it says number 11 and the indicia, I don't think it says number 11 on the cover. It says issue number 11, but that's because the first 11 issues were, the first 10 issues were, I think Cosmo the Cat, and then it became America's Sweetheart, Sonny. So this is the very first issue, and its cover, the artist who did this is Al Feldstein, none other than EC's Al Feldstein before he was at EC. And if you take a close look at this cover, take a real close look at it. I'm going to have to take this out of the mylar so I can really show you this. This is no accident on the part of Al Feldstein to draw this. You'll see what I'm talking about. You see the kid over there? Oh, he's grinning. Well, he's not grinning, and he's not looking at the sign that says danger, thin ice, because why would he grin and kind of laugh at the prospect of somebody falling into the thin ice and then drowning and being killed? No. What he's laughing at is the fact that, and look at those headlight covers. That's what when a woman's breasts were prominently displayed like that, they used to call those, and they still do, headlight. The way her legs are up in the air, that's what he's looking. He's looking up her skirt. There's no doubt about that. And Al Feldstein, there's no doubt about it that he deliberately drew it this way. And it's a pretty sought after book. It's pretty expensive, if you can find it. But I thought that I'd share that with you. One of my faves. And the interior art is loaded with a lot of headlight stuff and sexual innuendo. I'm telling you. 1947. And I showed you this one before. One of my favorites from oh man, I forgot what year is this from. I think it's 19. I gotta take this out of the bag too here. Bear with me for a moment. I think it's 49, but I'm not sure. Yeah, number 4 from 49. Dexter Comics number 4. And I just love this cover because it's so reminiscent of a time when kids hung out in diners and listened to music being played on jukeboxes, popular music of the day. They would dance there. I hope not like that all the time. He's stepping all over her feet. But it's just a beautiful rendition of the period that it represents. The 1950s is what it really, to me, represents, but the comic itself is from 1949. And this particular issue was from Heritage Auctions. It's the Davis Crippen copy. And it was one by me. I got that from Heritage Auctions. Very fine minus, but a senior grader at Heritage Auction. So happy to have that. I had a lower grade copy that I showed you once before. It's actually missing a little piece down here. Right there in the corner. But then it's a little bit soiled. It's a little dark. The cover's a little dark compared to the Heritage Auctions copy. You can see this one's got some much brighter colors to the cover. But yeah, that was such a wonderful time, man. You know, simpler things like that that you would be able to occupy your time with and enjoy yourself with just by hanging out at places like that. Now you got to hang out on street corners, or you can't even hang out on your front porch. You might be shot or something. I don't. Man, it's awful. Turn this thing around a little bit there. So. Yeah, I guess that's about it. You know, I'm getting really loopy here, and I don't think I put any rum in here. No. So, yeah, I should have another video. I usually use Google Chrome, so I'm going to be uploading this through another browser. Well, actually, I don't have to use a browser to. Well, I got to use a browser to log into the net, I think. But anyway, I will have another video up as soon as I can. Certainly within the next few days, I'll continue, and I want to take off where Dexter left. Continue where Dexter left with a copy of Strange Tales, which is a key issue. It's not the first issue, but it is a key issue, and you might be surprised why. So I shall see you in a few days, and thanks for watching. And remember that stuff I told you about juicing and staying healthy. We want to have everybody around the comic book community for a long time. Take care, and see you next time.